So the story goes like this. Yossi Jacobson asked Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz when they were looking in the Prague Machzor. It said after to the Baal Tefillah, Kan Tzarich Livkos, here you may cry. And they said, what do you mean Kan Tzarich? Usually you cry naturally. Exactly by Musaf, what's the deal with that? And the way I heard it from a rabbi in New Jersey, he said, I don't want to say these words without quoting someone else. He said, because you're a fat, spoiled American raised on salami sandwiches. Imagine the eyes of Yossi Jacobson. Rabbi Steinsaltz says, you guys are always living comfortable, and your Yiddishkeit and the suffering is just in the books. These Yidden in Prague always had a reason to cry. They always had sadis from the... Unfortunately, they were a guest in someone else's land. So imagine you lived your whole life in someone else's house. So the Machzor tells them now is an appropriate time to cry, because you always want to cry, day and night. Now you could cry. Let it out right now. You have it in you always. When I made my appeal for the memory card, I wasn't crying over a memory card. The worries of travel are greater than a stupid card. I was shopping on Amazon. It's like $13 on free shipping. And all the memory in there was just a weekend. It's really not a big deal. And I really feel bad for anyone that felt bad for me. I feel guilty making you feel bad for no reason. But Nachman of Breslov said that whenever he heard people crying, usually they were crying over nothing. And whenever he heard people being happy and Yulula, so excited, oh my God, he said, I always saw they were always happy over nonsense. They were crying and happy over nonsense. I really enjoyed Simchas Torah, but the crying, there was no crying. The appeal was to tell you, when you're living in Crown Heights and you always have a reason to cry, from when you're a little boy and some abusive guy was shipped in from Jerusalem to be your counselor or teacher, and he's unqualified, but he's qualified because he's a believer, he's a Lubavitcher, he's one of you. You couldn't get a qualified boy from Yeshiva University who's qualified in education and knows that abuse is dangerous. It reminds me of the story of Dudi Farkash in camp. We had a big fat guy, Dudi Farkash. He came to the Rebbe with his long payas. He snuck in from the back. You could see it on the Chaim Baruch's video, WLCC. Came with his brothers. And we were coming off a rafting trip in the Pocono Mountains. And I got off my raft and I tried to take water out of my shoe. So I lifted my feet up. Probably he saw in my bathing suit or something, and I don't know what his disposition was, but his response was to give me a big kick. Before I could even see what and who happened, I heard him say, Kranke neshama. Now, he's naturally responding to the way he was treated, but it's the system. It's the system that we need to reach out to. It's the administration. It's when the chaos is in control. You're always going to have people who had a poor life. You're always going to have people who are naturally cruel. You're always going to have people who are naturally nice. The problem is we put the wrong people in power. We vote the wrong people in. And why do we vote wrongly is because we are not educated. So we really have a very poor idea of morality and thinking things over for ourselves, because we always have to make a calculation for ourselves. We always have to ask what's good for us and our kids, and nobody can do it for us. And you can't read a book that's 100 years old or 1,000 years old to find out what's good for your kids now. So kan tzarich livchos. I made that video to show you, after feeling guilty that I visit Crown Heights once, twice, 3 times a year, Yom Pagre, and I leave. And I go back to the comfort of my home and my good climate and my good atmosphere and my good friends and my good shuls. And I have a choice of shuls. And if a shul brings in a wingnut to be in charge, I leave. I stop coming and my friends stop coming, because sometimes they come for me to give myself some credit. And I have all that choice. And you have that choice in Crown Heights as well. You build a shul, sometimes it becomes dry and the spirit erodes. So you have to move on. But as a whole, as a collective, I see it's so unfortunate outside the Cheva Avis Yisrael. Your younger man said, I watched your video, but I have a question about the Eitiv, the Rabbanim. And I said, I made the video in Japan. I didn't have an inkling and even a clue or a hunch that the Rabbanim were against the Eitiv. I thought there was a couple of bandits on the street, and you have to reason with the bandits because they're part of your community. They're Yidden, they have yarmulkes and tzitzis. And these vandals and extremists and dangerous, uneducated people, you tell them, sorry, our Eitiv is established by the Rabbanim because we follow Rabbinic Judaism, not Zealot Judaism, which usually none of it really lives today. It only reemerges when you have people who are hotheads. But as an organized religion, they are not, they don't have there is no organized Zealot Judaism today. Obama would never invite the delegate of the Zealot Jews to the White House, you know? And I said to him, I didn't have a clue that the Rabbanim were against the Eitiv. And I mentioned one time in the video, if the Rabbanim naturally become irrational and their reason falls apart, then you elect new Rabbanim. So the whole point of the video was educational. It's not about a SIM card that someone single-handedly stole. That is nature. That you could lose a bag at the airport. Would I come crying to everybody that I lost a bag at the airport and everybody should say Tillim for me? No. Not only because I don't believe that prayer doesn't work for that, or for anything, but because I don't believe in sharing sad news for friends. Life is short and precious, and if I don't have good news, I don't have any news. I'm here to cheer you up, just like I want my friends to cheer me up. The card is gone, and if it comes back, that'll be nice. I know I didn't back it up because it was just a weekend, just some shots. Really nice shots, but you know what? It was a weekend and I have other footage and I had fun. And the memories is what lives forever. The memories that I brought to Crown Heights from 25 to 30 years ago were memories I never captured on a camera. But everybody loved it. We had a wonderful time standing outside base Shmuel with Chesky Malamed and Noach Heber and his friends. Remembering how the Rebbe gave us a sikha after Talucha and we jumped on top of the Hatzalah van and some guys jumped on a tree and fell off the tree because they couldn't climb trees. They weren't raised in the wild, these kids. They were nice yeshiva boys, but they wanted to see the Rebbe, and the Rebbe spoke. This was a new thing. This was rare. And many, many other experiences that we had, not just Simchas Torah, but all the Yom Tovim. We all came back to us then, as if it was yesterday. Those feelings are precious and be with us forever. Thank you for watching. Sheni v'chamishi. Enjoy the beautiful. Oh, the sun is about to go down, so we could do mincha right now. Atzenter, iskada v'iskada shmei rabba. Hallelujah.